Hi guys, my name's Nadia Galvez and I'm going to be giving you guys a presentation about within the word pattern stage. I'm going to be talking about the developmental overview and the teaching recommendations. Okay, so first I want to give you guys a little overview, and basically this stage in the developmental process is a transition stage. So it's between literacy development between the beginning stage where students are kind of labored and limited, and it's the transition stage to where they begin to become more fluent in their reading and writing. So let's dive right in and talk about the developmental description. I'm going to talk to you guys about what learning looks like and what students should be able to do during this stage in learning. Okay, so the big question here is what can students already do? And students should be able to comprehend and read single syllable words while reading on their own. That's a big thing. They can also do two syllable words and three syllable words using the context clues surrounding the text. Their reading and writing should become more fluent. Students are now able to write at a greater speed because they are focusing more on meaning rather than vocab. They can produce words faster. Also, students begin to read chapter books, beginner books. Students can match sounds with letters, and students automatically spell words, which is another reason that their writing becomes faster. Next, we're going to be focusing on what students are learning to do in this phase. So, students should be learning more vocab. They should be picking up on vocab quickly, and teachers should be trying to expand their students' vocabulary. In the textbook, it is said that an average student can add 10 to 15 words per week to their vocabulary, and that should be a goal for the teachers to have their students learning that vocab. Students are learning to read silently. This is a really big thing as well, but it's also a big thing to not force the students to read silently. Students begin to focus on concrete ideas when they're writing, like I talked about in the last slide. Um, their writing becomes more meaningful and they are able to express their ideas better. And lastly, students are recognizing patterns and chunks in words. They're not sounding out each different um, phoneme, they're kind of chunking those sounds together in order to spell words. Moving right along, I'm going to talk to you guys about what effective teaching should look like in the classroom during this stage. So for this question, I really tried to focus on four main points. I emphasized that allowing students to be able to read aloud or silently was a big thing for me. Adapting to the needs of the student when it comes to reading, because obviously not everyone in the classroom is at the same reading level. Creating groups based on writing abilities. I really like that the textbook talked about grouping students with writing, because I think we always talk about grouping students with reading, and I feel as if this was a really good idea. Allowing for group discussions over selected text. I think selected text was a big thing for me here. We should always allow our students to talk about stuff that they like so that the conversations can be in depth. Um, and then always making sure to use new vocab in the classroom. Expanding your students' vocab was a big thing in this phase of learning. Now I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about some teaching strategies that I came up with. Okay, so this one right here is a memory game. It would involve students having cards that have words on the back of them. The students would flip over random cards, see if the sound that's on the card matches, and if not, they would flip over both cards and try again to create a match. I know that the way that I worded it on my slide was really confusing, so I included a video example, so I hope you guys stay tuned and watch that. Okay, so I created a little memory game. So what my students would do is they would have a bigger set of cards, obviously, but for the example, I only did four. We flip it over and it's faux. So then they would flip another one over and that's cow, and the sounds don't match, so they would flip them back over. And so then we would do faux again, brown, don't match, flip them back over, but we know cow and brown have that O sound, so this would be a pair right here. And then faux and rose, that would be a sound pair right there. And then they'd have more cards to do, but that's just a quick little example. My second activity is super easy, super simple. It's just a word sort depending on the sound of the letter that we're focusing on. My third and final activity is a writing workshop. It would include students being grouped depending on what their weaknesses and strengths are in writing, what they need to study, and working with their group to create a story, and then getting feedback from me, focusing on what we need to focus on. I really like this activity because it's simple, and I really like the idea of writing groups. Thank you guys for coming, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.